What if I told you just 20 minutes west of downtown Minneapolis, there was a sleepy, quiet, lakeside community that absolutely flies below the radar? Everyone's talking about Wayzata, Excelsior, and even Minnetonka. No one, my friends, is talking about Deephaven, and you're getting a look at it right here. Most people drive right by this little lakeside community and have no idea what they're missing. Today, I'm going to take you around Deephaven. We're going to talk about some points of interest, the schools, the vibe of this community, and what life is like in this absolutely hidden gem of Minneapolis. You know, hidden gem gets thrown around a lot these days. It's a fun clickbaity term, but that is absolutely the case in what we have with Deephaven. Like I said, everybody knows about Excelsior and Wayzata. I'll tell you what, even if you live in a lot of the metro, you've probably never heard of Deephaven, and that is unfortunate because it's absolutely fantastic and it flies below the radar. It is a hidden gem. My name is Chris. This is what I do. Myself, business partner Trevor, and our team, we get out into the communities, help people like you make a move every single day. If we can help you out, contact information is all right here. It's also down below. Don't be shy to drop us a line. You know, I shoot a lot of these videos, and I'm not going to lie to you, some places are more exciting to talk to you about than others. Deephaven is truly one of these super cool places. Really excited to show you guys this one. Make sure you stick around. I'm going to show you my hidden gem at the end of this. Whole thing's going to be super cool. So Deephaven itself, this would definitely qualify as one of these points of interest. This is Deephaven Beach here behind me. Okay, and we're starting here for a couple reasons. Yes, it's one of these points of interest. It's a great beach. But this is also really representative of what Deephaven does so well that places like Minnetonka, Excelsior, and Wayzata really don't do that well. And that is give you fantastic public access to the crown jewel, that being Lake Minnetonka. Right, you will find beaches like this, Robinson's Bay Beach, Tacoma Beach. There's a bunch of beaches like this dotted throughout this community, and it just makes it very unique, very cool. This beach in particular, my out-of-state friend, so it's the middle of November. Air temp today is 50 degrees, so yeah, you don't see too many beachgoers. Personally, I like that as a YouTuber, I guess. I'm not a big fan of getting up close and sticking my camera in families' faces with little kids for the obvious reason. So it's a great day to shoot our video. You get a really good look at the beach. And this is on St. Louis Bay. And I don't know if you can see behind me, but you start to get some of these great lake homes, some of that fantastic real estate. So Deephaven Beach is where we are getting started. We are going to head over to the Deephaven General Store next. This place has been around for about 130 years and is kind of a mythical creature in its own right. So we'll see you over there next. Well, we're going to make our way over to the general store as promised. However, if you've seen my videos, you know I'm easily distractible. So before we get to the general store, we're going to do two things. We're going to hop into the map real quick so I can lay Deephaven out for you to give you a better understanding of where it is. And we're going to make one pretty nifty stop on the way to this general store. Let's get into the map. So we're going to hop in the map and just take a look at Deephaven's location, because Deephaven's location is really what makes this community kind of special. So I always like to start it off. You can see Minneapolis right here, and you can see Deephaven basically straight west of downtown Minneapolis. Commute time from Deephaven to downtown Minneapolis proper. On the low end, 20 minutes. You got a lot of traffic, maybe 30 minutes, but relatively close to downtown. So zooming into Deephaven here, and I want to just kind of chat about this. I think Deephaven has the location that the public thinks about when they hear Minnetonka. Minnetonka itself does not have a lot of actual direct lake access. Deephaven is its own proper community, but it basically is on the whole western side of Minnetonka, and it snags all the lakefront from Minnetonka itself. So you can see the location here, and what you're going to see is a lot of Deephaven borders right on the lake. That's really what makes it so special. Beyond that, you've got Wayzata, 5 to 10 minute drive, depending on where in Deephaven you are, but just right on the northern edge. And then you've got Excelsior down here right on the southern edge. So you have two of Lake Minnetonka's absolute most beautiful towns right on your northern and southern border, 5 to 10 minute drive. That's really nice. If you live in Deephaven, that's Minnetonka School Districts. Minnetonka High School right here down on the bottom. Peggle Ice Arena, that's Minnetonka High School. Again, right on the doorstep of Deephaven. Of course, you've got Minnetonka proper just to the east. And the last thing I really like to call out with location is going to be MSP Airport. So again, here's Deephaven. Here's the airport over here. Bad traffic, you're probably 45 minutes. Better traffic, you're probably 30. So again, just that's one of the defining features of Deephaven is it's set up on Lake Minnetonka. It's a huge part of what makes Deephaven. Well, what can I say? I'm easily distractible. On our way over to the Deephaven General Store, an opportunity to get you a nice 3-for-1 presented itself. So, of course, we could not pass that up. So, what's going on here? So, we are at Burton Park, which that's what you're seeing behind me. Just some nice trails. Makes it real easy to get out in the middle of the woods and see no one as you walk along the lake, get out into the woods. So, that's a pretty cool thing. This is also tucked right into Carson's Bay, which if you've spent any time on Lake Minnetonka, that's one of those bays where people want to be. A lot going on, pretty much encapsulated by Deephaven. By the way, that is going to be just across the road from me. But the other really cool thing about Deephaven, and this is going to apply to Minnetonka, of course, Excelsior, and a lot of these suburbs, is you have the Minnetonka Light Regional Trail basically cutting right through the center of Deephaven. So you can take this out west, get to Excelsior and beyond, and you can take this east and eventually find yourself at the Mississippi River, downtown Minneapolis. So it's just a really nice feature to have in any neighborhood, this Minnetonka Regional Trail. It's great for biking and walking, and you can get almost anywhere. And the last thing I wanted to show you was just the Carson's Bay boat ramp. You can see it here. Good place to put your boat in. Again, it's Deephaven doing what it does so well, giving you access to this great lake. Well, behind me is the Deephaven General Store, and locals will tell you that this place has a vibe and character all of its own. It has been here for over 130 years, and my timing's impeccable. Of course, it's temporarily closed on the day I decide to show up. It's called a general store, but it's really a lot more for this community. This is kind of the central hub. This is where locals will come, grab a coffee and a newspaper, linger, talk to the cashier, what's going on in the neighborhood. It's where you get the local neighborhood gossip. You find out what's happening with your neighbor, that kind of thing. It's also right next to a really cool little children's park here, which you can see, which kind of makes it just a really cool area to stop and hang out. And I'm going to try and turn the camera around because just to give you a flavor about what makes Deephaven so cool, directly across the street from the general store, if you can see it behind me, is Lake Minnetonka. So this whole part, this is kind of called Cottagewood in this section of Deephaven. You got water on all sides. It's got a very different vibe. And we're just going to move up the street here and we're going to chat a little bit about the vibe of Deephaven and this community. Well, I just wanted to take a minute and chat with you about the vibe of Deephaven because it's definitely unique and it's definitely part of the charm. Deephaven itself it's like the lakeside retreat, except you live there. This whole neighborhood is for the most part completely residential. There's a restaurant here and there, the general store, which we saw, but this is a community of residential neighborhoods. And what the locals will tell you if you live in Deephaven is that this feels like, compared to Wayzata and even Excelsior, because both of these places are much, much higher up on the tourist radar compared to Deephaven. So compared to places like Excelsior and Wayzata, what you get with Deephaven, you get that lakeside community, but you really get a much slower pace of life. And I kind of hate to use the word sleepy, but you get that sleepy lakeside community feel that you might be chasing in other places, especially in this part of Deephaven. So I'm right out by the general store. We're getting more into that southwestern part of Deephaven. This area is kind of affectionately known as Cottagewood. This area in particular, like you can see some of these homes, like this home right behind me. For a home on Lake Minnetonka, That's pretty modest. Don't get confused. I'm sure it's still at least $1 million. But these homes in this area are a bit smaller in nature. They feel a bit more like cottages, and this part of town is extremely close knit. I've bumped into about 4 people on the street today, and nobody wants to get on camera and chat with me. But all of them, when I ask them, why do you live in Deephaven? What makes it so special? They all say quiet. They all say great community vibe, and they all mention the proximity to the lake. So that's really the vibe of this neighborhood. And who lives here? This is going to be a mix of families, young professionals, and frankly, locals who have been here forever. The one barrier to entry to getting into this part of town, we'll touch on it when we get to real estate later. It's an expensive part of town to get into. So that stops first-time home buyers and a lot of move-up buyers from getting into this community. But again, locals who have been here forever, young professionals, people with good jobs commuting to downtown Minneapolis, that's who you are going to find in Deephaven. Well, smack dab in the middle of Deephaven, you are going to find the biggest space of public green space in this community, and that is going to be Thorpe Park. You're looking at it right now. We've got a nice, beautiful playground. There is some disc golf, athletic fields. Of course, we have the obligatory skating rink. It's right over there. Nice pond, just a really nice piece of green space tucked into the middle of this neighborhood. And I really like these residential parks. You know, you've got homes built literally all around the edge of this park. So it's kind of small town USA. The kids can run out, play in the community playground, get home in time for dinner. Enough with the screens. So just one of these points of interest. If you're going to be in this neighborhood, Thorpe Park is definitely something to have on the radar. Well, the next thing I wanted to chat with you guys about the schools in Deephaven. If you're considering a move here, probably something you want to know a little bit about. And I couldn't help myself. Super cool spot. One of the things that makes Deephaven so cool, you've got the big Lake Minnetonka on one side, which you can see here behind me. And then you've got Carson Bay right on the other. So where I'm standing now, I'm sandwiched in between the lake. I'm going to see if we can get that in the video. So, school district. If you live in this lovely community of Deephaven, it's good news. You are in the Minnetonka School District. As always, do your own research, but what I feel very comfortable saying is, regardless of where you look, you're going to find that Minnetonka School District is extremely highly rated. It's consistently one of the best in the state. Here comes a cheesy cliche. People move here for the schools and they stay for the lifestyle, especially if you're living in Deephaven. Why wouldn't you want to live here? So, just chalk that up in the list of positives for Deephaven. You get a banging school district with it. We're just going to continue walking up the street because that's just the idea. I really want to show you guys these neighborhoods. Check this little guy out to my right. Super cool house. You can see why this part of town is called Cottagewood. It's got a very cottage-esque feel to it. And then, just directly across the street from our cute, quaint little cottage right here, you're going to get much bigger, newer homes like what you can see behind me. And what I was really trying to show you, we'll go for it here with the camera. Now you get Carson's Bay behind me. So we came from 100 yards that way, lake on that side, lake on this side. Lakes all around, my friend. And just to keep hammering on it, the vibe, I just met yet another walker who does not want to hop on camera with me. Check this house right here. Super cool cottagey vibe again. But this lady was telling me her favorite things of living here again are super tight-knit community vibe. And the other thing she said is like her relatives from the East Coast come here and this feels like Cape Cod or the Hamptons tucked into Minnesota. That's for you to decide, but it definitely has kind of that vibe to it. I've been trying to decide at what point, at what street do I hop out and talk to you guys about the real estate because it's diverse. There's a lot of cool real estate. And anyway, so I ended up just a block off the lake here. You can see, I know they're hard to see, but you can see behind me, these are going to be the big dogs, these big, expensive lake homes. all on, 2-3 acre lots. You've got a lot of proximity from your neighbor, big long driveways because they don't want YouTubers, understandably, up in their front yard shooting videos. But let's just chat about the real estate in Deephaven. And I'm going to pull up the computer here in a minute just to give you some data. The first thing to know about the downside to Deephaven, if there is one, is the cost of the real estate. What you're going to see here is that Deephaven real estate is about 30% more expensive on average than is typical real estate in the Twin Cities. And it's about twice as expensive as Minnetonka, which is already expensive. That's the downside. The upside is the real estate, if you can get in here, is fantastic. Now, along the lake shores, you're going to have these massive lakefront, typical Lake Minnetonka palatial estates. You're going to see we've got a couple here for sale at 12 million. We've got one for sale at 22 million. So that's what you're going to find along the lake. As you get closer into town, or I should say off the lake a little bit, you will find more modest opportunities to get into this neighborhood once you get away from the lake. You'll find homes, single family homes, probably starting at 700K and up from there. You might find a townhome here and there in the 5s or 6s, but realistically, looking to get into Deephaven, expect to pay something like 700K, and as you'll see, you can pay up to 22 million. So let's hop into the computer here and take a little bit deeper look at the data. Well, wanted to hop into the computer here and just share some information and data, if you will, on Deephaven's real estate environment. So that's what we're going to do here quickly. So starting out, Deephaven is going to be our red line. Directly next to Deephaven is Minnetonka, a useful comparison point. The green line down here on the bottom is the Twin Cities region at large, kind of our overall barometer. So what you're going to notice right away, Deephaven as of October 2025 on a median price per square foot, $296, where you can see the Twin Cities region at large is $200 a square foot. So Deephaven is about 30% more expensive. And you can see here, it's even more expensive than its already expensive neighbor, Minnetonka, averaging $225 a square foot. So Deephaven real estate is expensive. Taking a further look here at sales price, median sales price, October 25, for Deephaven, just over $1 million. And as you can see, they've got Minnetonka more than doubled up. Minnetonka coming in at 500K, Twin Cities region at large just under 400K. So the Deephaven real estate comes at a premium, and there's a couple reasons for that. Deephaven's real estate is largely influenced by how much lakeshore Deephaven has, and that's going to affect your average prices because so much of this community is built along this lakeshore here. These waterfront properties command big dollars. So what you're looking at now is October 2025, what is currently active for sale in Deephaven. I believe there's something like 22, 23 properties. And what you're gonna see, not surprisingly, all these guys on the lake, you can have this one for the low price of $12.5 million, over here for 2.3. How about this guy, 2670 Linwood Road? Look that up on Zillow, my friends. Sitting here at $22 million. So that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see all this stuff close to the lake, real big numbers. Now, if you wanna get into Deephaven without these $1 million price tags, what you're gonna wanna do is look off the lake a little bit, get inside. $899, not cheap, a lot cheaper than $22 million. 1.5, there's a 745. You know what, let's just cheat. Everything currently active in Deephaven. So on the top end, we've got 22 million. And on the low end, you've got one here at 400K. That's a 2-bed, 1-bath, 840 square feet. So that's kind of an outlier, not too many. Next at 525, you can get yourself a 3-3. That's gonna be a side-by-side townhouse. And as you can see, really the vast majority of these properties are $1 million and up. So influenced by that lakeside real estate, premium real estate, there's not a lot of it, and for what is out there, people want to be there, my friends. Well, I just hopped back in my truck here after having a conversation with one of these lovely individuals, explaining myself why I was down on the end of their cul-de-sac. So before the cops get called on me, we're gonna motor out of here. We're gonna take you over to my hidden gem in Deephaven. Let's go check that out next. All right, well, I told you if you stuck around till the end, I would show you my hidden gem, and that is going to be Beanhaven Cafe here in Deephaven neighborhood. And I love this place. It's small, it's intimate, it's home cooked food, it's simple, and it's really, really good. These guys just celebrated their 30th anniversary. I was just talking to the owner, who's a bit of a character. Shockingly, I could not convince him to get on camera with me, but he was telling me one of the things that this place does is they actually import their bagel dough from New Jersey. He boils it himself and then tops it here in the store fresh. So I come here for breakfast. It's a real simple, very good spot. If you are anywhere near Deephaven, strongly recommend you poke your head in here and try this place out. So that, my friends, is going to bring us to the end of our video today. Hope you found Deephaven interesting. Deephaven is awesome. Deephaven is off the radar. If you want to be near the lake, check it out. Again, my name is Chris. Contact information is all right here. It's also down below. If you want more information on Deephaven, you're thinking about making a move, drop out, reach me a line, drop those questions, comments, and or sarcasm below. We'll see you on the next one real soon.